Regular City Council meeting for Wednesday, May 4th, 2022. It is 6 o'clock. Everyone is here and present and accounted for. If you would all join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you. Please take your seats. All right, item number 3, presentations and proclamations. Item 3A, Tri-County Chamber of Commerce presentation by Executive Director Mindy Paxton. Unfortunately, she is not here tonight because she has a family emergency. She contacted me and we wish her the absolute best. She will be here in June for our regular City Council meeting. And with that, we have a few proclamations. So Marissa and Kat, will you join me at the center console? All right, we are honored to do this. I need my glasses to read it. Proclamation. Whereas the office of the professional municipal clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world, and the office of the professional municipal clerk is the oldest among public servants, and the office of the professional municipal clerk, say that 3 times, provides the professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at other levels, and professional municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. And professional municipal clerks serve as the information center on functions of local government and community, and they continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of the professional municipal clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, regional, county, and international professional organizations. And it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the Office of the Professional Municipal Clerk. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Rob Erickson, Mayor of Garden Ridge, Texas, do hereby proclaim May 1st through the 7th, 2022 in the city of Garden Ridge as Professional Municipal Clerks Week. Signed under my hand on this 4th day of May, 2022. You guys, the city would not run like it does without the professional efforts of the entire city staff and all of our employees, but specifically we need to honor our clerks and our city secretary and our assistant city secretary slash communications specialist for everything that Kat and Marissa do day in, day out for all of you and in our local community for the city of Garden Ridge. We couldn't do this with happy birthday is in order as well. Thank you. The floor is yours if you wish to speak.
Can we take a picture of this?
Thank you. You want to speak?
Briefly, very briefly. Well, as you heard the mayor say, the office of the city secretary, it's much easier to just say that, is the oldest among public servants, and this week is actually the 53rd annual Professional Municipal Clerks Week, which makes me feel a whole lot better that I just turned 30. But in all seriousness, I would just like to say thank you to the mayor, city council, Nancy, and all of the residents of Garden Ridge for supporting us and giving us the opportunity for continuing education and growing in our profession. Your support has allowed us to become certified as Texas Registered Municipal Clerks, and also gave us the opportunity to receive the Texas Municipal Clerk's Office Achievement of Excellence Award in 2021, a recognition in which less than 40 cities have received, and that would not be possible without the support that we receive from this city. So thank you.
speaking of people in Garden Ridge, that without their function and what they do, we couldn't function, specifically safely. Chief, can you come up and join me, please?
I call it audible?
Yes, everybody,
Since they're here.
yes.
And since he insisted on somebody giving a speech, he can give a speech. You started.
Here we are. Okay. Proclamation. Whereas in 1962, President Kennedy proclaimed May 15th as National Peace Officers Memorial Day and the calendar week in which May 15th falls as National Police Week. National Police Week, established by a joint resolution of Congress in 1962, pays special recognition to those law enforcement officers who have lost their lives in the line of duty for the safety and protection of others. And the members of the Garden Ridge Police Department play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the citizens of Garden Ridge. And it is important that all citizens know and understand the problems, duties, and responsibilities of their police department, and that members of our police department recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence or disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression or intimidation. And it is fitting and proper that we express our gratitude for the dedicated service and courageous deeds of law enforcement officers and for the contributions they have made to the security and well-being of all of our citizens. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Rob Erickson, Mayor of the City of Garden Ridge, do hereby proclaim May 15th through the 21st, 2022 in the City of Garden Ridge as National Police Week. I ask all citizens to join in commemorating police officers, past and present, who by their faithful and loyal devotion to their responsibilities have rendered a dedicated service to their communities and, in doing so, have established themselves an enviable and enduring reputation for preserving the rights and security of all citizens. I further call upon all citizens of Garden Ridge to observe May 15th, 2022 as Peace Officers Memorial Day to honor those peace officers who, through their courageous deeds, have lost their lives or have become disabled in the performance of duty. To date, we have lost 25,649 peace officers, and there were 614 line-of-duty deaths reported in 2021 alone. In witness thereof, I hereto set my hand and official seal of the City of Garden Ridge this 4th day of May, 2022. Rob Erickson. I think a round of applause all around the community for our law enforcement this morning. Give me 30 seconds. I sleep well at night, and so does my family, knowing that all of you are on patrol and on duty. Whether it's you or just a member of the department, I sleep well at night. I sleep well at night knowing that you're a mentor to my son. I sleep well at night knowing that as a friend and as the chief of police for the city that I live in, you're 3 blocks away. Not that that matters, but I know that all of you would be there for any one of us in the city of Garden Ridge. And one of the first things I said to you last May 10th, was, Chief, I've got your back. And there's nothing more important to the city of Garden Ridge than our police department, to keep us safe and keep us sleeping well at night. You do so many things other than just law enforcement. The things that you guys do for the community, the whole department, are amazing. And things that I didn't know as the mayor coming in, that I'm still learning about, and that I venture to say so many people around our community don't know the things you guys do day in, day out, plus 12-hour shifts. So thanks for what you do. We couldn't do it without you. We as a city have your back, and never let that be in question. So thanks. Thanks for what you do. And happy birthday, Lieutenant Dan. It's birthday week.
So,
Do you want a picture first?
do you
Okay.
just go on the side so we don't go? You still want to hear a speech? Dan can get one.
Dan's going to give a speech. Floor's yours, buddy.
Thank you.
The best part of my job. All right, that concludes item number 3. On to item number 4, citizen comment period. Remember, we have 30 minutes total, which shouldn't be a factor because we have 3 minutes to speak and 3 people signed up tonight. Remember, as the council, we can't comment on what you're talking about, but we are taking notes and we'll listen. So I'd ask Mr. Billy Williams to come up, please. The floor is yours, sir.
Mayor, City Council, thank you for this opportunity to speak. My name is Billy Williams, and I'm the president of the Woods of Garden Ridge. And also, I'd like to thank my fellow board members who are here tonight, and also my community members are here tonight. And we're here to talk about a serious issue in our community. From one non-governmental agency to a governmental agency is why we're here tonight. I've sent you some pictures, and we as a board of directors have been in charge for a year. And the city just recently, a matter of fact, this week or last week, signed off on all 3 phases of the drainage of our community. And you can see in those pictures, right now we are probably 2 torrential storms away from one of these drainage ditches gobbling down a privacy fence. Not only is it a safety hazard for the drainage dishes, but we also have an issue on Apache Forest. We don't know if it's gray water, septic water, and we have coordinated with the County Environmental Department. We've coordinated with Chesmar and JB Septic to come out. But the issue still resolves. Right now, as a community, we only have $95,000 in our reserves. And I do know that the city of Garden Ridge has $1.2 million of American Rescue Funds. And so we are seeking immediate assistance here because right now we're out getting bids for these drainage ditch issues. But again, the issue on Apache Forest, we don't know if it's an underground river, we don't know if it's a spring, but our community members on Apache Forest are very concerned. From a health issues, we have kids can't go out to play because of the foul odor, but we are a community, and the Woods of Garden Ridge is a very upper echelon community. Probably the cheapest house is less than $500,000, $500,000, $550,000 minimum. We don't want to see property values devalued because that affects us as a community, but also affects you as a city, as a property tax. So these pictures speaks volumes. And right now, the drainage ditch on Concho Pass is flashing red. With severe weather forecasted here, triple digits and severe thunderstorms, that fence on Concho Pass may be gone before the end of May. We need your help. We're asking for the city of Garden Ridge to assist us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Mr. Shelby Trial, please. The floor is yours, sir.
Shelby Trial, 21657 Forest Water Circle. The last time I addressed City Council in this 3-minute public comment session, I was attacked by a member of council. If you're going to attack me again, do it now so I have to come back again later. I cannot stand by and watch as another resident is attacked by this City Council. Specifically, I'm here to talk about what I consider was a verbal public lynching of former Mayor Thompson at last month's City Council meeting. City Council carried an executive session item on their agenda for 10 months dealing with the mayor's computer. 10 months when it could have been wrapped up in just a few days if the investigator would just taken the time to talk to Mayor Thompson. Yet Mayor Thompson was never, ever contacted. But as we learned from the 2021 election, when a city council candidate claimed the police department and city administration did not back Mayor Thompson's reelection, evidently they weren't through with Mayor Thompson. This time they went after his integrity. How much taxpayer money did the city waste in those 10 months to arrive at what many people consider was a witch hunt? Here's some facts that I know that the investigation failed to uncover. Why did Mayor Thompson want his hard drive? He wanted it because he had files on it from his Confident Defense Company and some personal banking information. Why did he have these files on his hard drive? For years, Mayor Thompson annually donated his personal time teaching residents one of his company's courses for the police department. That course was Refuse to be a Victim. How ironic. And because he worked every day at City Hall, he's had some of his personal banking information on the drive. As a cybersecurity expert, Mayor Thompson spoke to the city's IT person and told him he wanted to clean the drive to totally remove the personal files. He offered to buy the hard drive so he could destroy the files the proper way. The IT person told Mayor Thompson just to take the hard drive because they were going to replace it anyway. Mayor Thompson told this to the city administrator and HR finance manager, and they did not have a problem with him taking it. Here's the clincher. The city asserts that he wiped his hard drive. This tells me the city is failing to back up city computers as they are mandated to do. Let me say that again. If the city backs up every computer as they are supposed to do, those files still exist on a backup file and are not wiped out. On the mayor's last day, when he planned on removing the hard drive, his computer had been confiscated by the city administrator. What did the city administrator use as the legal authorization to deny the mayor access to his computer? Answer that question. Lastly, be advised that I will assert to the State Attorney General that a violation of the Texas Open Meetings Act occurred pertaining to this item. Why was this item not specifically described in the agenda? Why didn't the city attorney stop this item from being voted on twice? Where was the transparency on that agenda item?
Thank you, Mr. Trial. Next, we have Sharon Stripling. Floor is yours, ma'am. Good to see you.
Oh, I just saw you walking the other day, so. Okay, my name is Sharon Stripling. I live at 21729 Forest Water Circle. I've been at that house for 32 years. This is a long thing I got to do really quick, but 32 years ago, I would get in trouble if I left brush out on my driveway or a tree stump that stood there too long, or if my grass was too long, or if we stored my boat in the driveway for 2 days. I'd have a visit from somebody from my neighborhood association or something. Fast forward 32 years, things have really changed in Garden Ridge quite a bit. Probably even 10 years or more, I've noticed that the storage of RVs and boats and broken down cars has like overwhelmed us or overtaken our community. I know a lot of people aren't going to agree with that. I have a lot of people, my friends, that drive into Garden Ridge and they're like, oh, we need to move here. You can store your RV at your house. And I'm like, I don't think that's something we really want to be known for. I know that we have ordinances to follow, but in my case in Forest Waters, we have to go by what's in Garden Ridge because we can't enforce it in our neighborhood association. I'm just asking, please do not get lax on this. I think it's gotten out of hand. I walk a lot. I see a lot of boats and RVs sitting way out in front of the property lines. And personally, I would rather not see any of them at all, even if they are behind fence lines. There's a hard way. I know I keep getting told, report it, but it's like, I don't want to have the police go out and visit somebody. There's like roosters going off all the time. There's people that have grass up to their knees. I wish there was an easier process for, if we had a code compliance department or something, it'd be an easier process to report some of what's going on. And one other thing has to do with the police, and I've hit them on this before. I wish we would lower the speed limit in the city of Garden Ridge. I live on Forest Water Circle right down from the club, which is very high traffic. We have a lot of new young families that have moved in, and people are speeding through there. And I know everybody says, no, they don't. And I'm like, when you're hopping into your grass to walk, or there's dogs that people are pulling them, there's something going on. And all of this is just for the better of our communities. And I know when I was young and I didn't want to listen to some of those code compliance things, my dad, who was retired military, told me, Sharon, there's a reason for having covenants and restrictions and ordinances, and you need to abide by them. And that I do. So thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Okay, that concludes citizens' comments. We're on to item number 5, the consent agenda. These items may be acted upon in a single motion. No separate discussion or action on these items will be held unless requested by a council member. Public comment on these items may be heard during citizens' participation. However, that does not mean the item will be considered outside the consent agenda. With that being said, does anybody have anything that they want to pull from the consent agenda? To my right? To my left? Okay. If nothing is to be pulled from the consent agenda, can I get a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
We have a motion to approve. Can I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. Any further discussion? Call it to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The consent agenda passes. On to item number 6, 6A, staff reports. City Administrator, monthly activity report. Nancy, ma'am, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor. There are a few items that I would like to add to my report. The first one being that we do not have any employees to recognize for their service to the city for the month of May. The second thing is that Kay and Jim Bauer sent a thank you to Officers Jefferson and McKenzie. They had an alarm incident at their home, and the Officer McKenzie and Officer Jefferson arrived, responded immediately. They want to express their sincere gratitude for both men for having such a professional and compassionate attitude, and they further state that it's rewarding in every way to have such a great department backing us. The second thing I wanted to bring to council's attention is that we received, the Garden Ridge Women's Club made a donation to the Garden Ridge Library in the amount of $500 and made a donation to the Garden Ridge Animal Services in the amount of $400. I did send them a thank you note on behalf of those, thanking them for those two donations. Volunteer hours for the month of April totaled 247. There were 8 hours for bill stuffing, 177 volunteer hours in the library. The Parks Committee had 62 volunteer hours, 53 of which were from committee members and 9 from other people that assisted the committee. And I want to remind everybody that on June 18th from 10 to 1, there will be a shred event, and it will be occurring at the Garden Ridge Community and Events Center. And then also, first Friday, the theme is Cinco plus Uno de Mayo. It will occur on Friday, May the 6th, from 5 to 7 at Paul Davis Park. Food trucks, I believe, and beverages will be provided. And that is all I had, Mayor.
Thank you, Nancy.
You're welcome.
Cinco plus Uno de Mayo. So we also have a margarita machine on its way, and Just Dogs, and a shaved ice snow cone,
Free snow cones
free snow cones.
and a Tex-Mex Asian truck. Tex-Mex Asian. It's
So,
interesting.
so come on out,
They're
council.
excited to come.
And everybody out there, everybody in the audience, everybody out there in TV land, YouTube land, please come on out to, what's that?
I'm sorry we're going to miss it.
Yeah, I
gotta
know,
go-
you're gone,
I got to go
right?
to Dallas.
It's
But
gonna
I
be,
got-
it's gonna be a
yeah.
good time. We'll miss you. So come on out. We're gonna have a good time. Lots of fun. Thanks, Nancy. Anything else?
No, not for my report.
Okay.
Thank you.
Item B, Karen is on an excused absence and is not here tonight for any updates, and she had nothing to pass on to the council, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Item C, City Secretary Monthly Activity Report. Marissa, ma'am, floor is yours.
Just a couple things I wanted to point out on my report. We have an upcoming holiday, so Monday, May 30th, City Hall will be closed. And then the election, early voting is over, but Election Day is this Saturday. Poll will be open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., and voting will occur right here in the City Council chambers. And as soon as the election results are received, they'll be posted on the city's website. They're actually linked directly to the Comal County Elections Office website. So you'll be able to see the results as they're tallied, like live, basically, from the county's website. And then the last reminder is that City Council is having a workshop meeting on the draft zoning ordinance on Wednesday, May 25th at 1 p.m. here in the City Council chambers. That is all I have.
Thank you, Marissa. Appreciate it. All right, on to 6D, Police Department Monthly Activity Report. Chief,
Yes, sir. Thank
floor
you.
is yours. Yes, sir.
Most everything is on the report for you to review. I would like to add one thing that's not on there because it's upcoming is May the 21st. We're having our annual Police and Fire Pancake Breakfast. So I'd like to invite everybody out for that over at Paul Davis Park. We do it by donation, and we're doing it to raise money for our Children's Advocacy Center of Comal County. They do great things for us here in the community and the police department. So this year we're adding a mimosa bar for those that can partake, and should be a great time. So come on out. You've got to eat breakfast anyway. Come on out to the park, have some pancakes and sausage. It's one of the few times we tolerate the firemen, and we actually have a good time with it. That's all I've got, sir.
Thanks, Chief. Anybody have anything for the chief? This is our first year with a mimosa bar, right?
Yes, sir.
I think First Friday setting a trend here. Here we go. Okay. That's good stuff. Thanks, Chief. Item number 6E. Yeah, we're trying to raise money, right? Public Works Department. Stephen, the floor is yours, both sections.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. For the month of April, the Public Works Department recorded 4 inches of rain at the Public Works Yard, displayed 1 stormwater message on the FM 2252 sign, crack sealed the streets in the Forest of Garden Ridge subdivision, installed base mounts for the ball field at Paul Davis Park. So there's bases now. If anybody wants to rent the ball field, they have bases available to them. Installed a new flagpole at Paul Davis Park. We repaired the chilled water sensor on the AC system at City Hall, replaced the AC fan motor and capacitors at the rental property. Dumpsters will be back at the Public Works Yard in May on the weekends. For animal control, we adopted 1 dog. We transferred 1 dog to another no-kill agency. We currently have 3 dogs and 5 puppies. Any questions for the Public Works portion?
Council, any questions for Stephen regarding Public Works on this one? I wanted to say quickly that the flagpole looks great. The bricks that we have installed there that we're going to put engrave them with names of sponsors and then special members, perhaps of council. After 20 years, we'll engrave those 600 bricks. 20 years. So John gets the first brick. It looks great, Stephen. So, and then the limestone barriers that you guys installed to make sure that the flagpole is never backed into again look fantastic as well. And I told Nancy earlier today that at flag football practice last night, 3 of my parents said, hey, those look fantastic. And how do we get our name on a brick? So it's working. So Nancy, great idea. Stephen, great work.
We're still not done with that portion. We're going to put more topsoil and sod around there, so it'll have a nice green area around that once it's fully complete.
Yes, sir. Can't wait. Thanks so much. Pass the thanks along, please.
For the Utilities Department, for the month of April, we pumped 37.11 acre feet from the Edwards Aquifer, which brings our yearly pump total to 141.82 acre feet, with 483.31 acre feet remaining. We pumped 55.71 acre feet from the Trinity, which brings our yearly total to 133.87 acre feet. All monthly water samples submitted and passed. Water loss for April went down to 3.5%. AMI total notifications was 1,064 with 287 abnormals, 212 continuous flows, 417 leak info codes, and 148 usage trends. We're seeing more activity since the weather's getting warmer. People are using more water, so that's the reason we're having a little bit higher AMI notifications. We conducted leak detection on Wall Lane, Apache Forest, Orchard Glen, and found no leaks detected in those areas. That's all I have to report.
Thank you, Stephen. Well done. Council, any questions for Stephen regarding water? Okay, thanks so much. On to item number 6F, the library monthly activity report. Ms. Linda, please, the floor is
Okay.
yours, ma'am.
Good evening. Today is May the 4th. Be with you at the library. This has become a thing among Star Wars fans around the world. We celebrate. Yes, they're celebrating next door as we speak without me. I threatened to wear my Queen Amidala suit tonight, but I didn't want you to think I was frivolous. Okay. A little FYI on my report, I wrote under items checked out, I wrote a dollar mark saved for hard copy books. And that just means instead of buying things, our patrons saved almost $10,000 last month. There's an activity I would really like to emphasize, and that's how to appeal your property tax. Thank you. It's May 12th at 6:30. While we're hosting it, it's going to be held in the community center. Fred Stubing and Mike Berlenga are presenters. The appeals are due May 15th, and so this is a really timely moment to get that done, and they will walk people through it. It's not that hard, but it could be a little complicated. They have a really high percentage of people who get their taxes lowered, and for those who are listening, if you're 65 or over, some people go, it doesn't matter, I'm 65, my taxes are frozen, but someday you're going to want to sell your house, and this could help you down the line. So you might want to consider appealing your tax assessment. There are two items that the library is responsible for the 50th anniversary, and shall I mention those now? Yeah, okay. The first is an art show presented by the students from Davenport High School. And it's going to be held right here in this room on May 18th at 6 p.m. So you can come early for the special canvassing meeting. I'm really excited to see what they come up with on how to celebrate Garden Ridge. And another activity that we'll be doing is a citywide scavenger hunt. People may pick up a copy of the scavenger hunt June the 4th at 10 a.m. So everyone has kind of an equal shot at going out and getting it. The first person who finds everything and presents it, the very first people who get everything on camera, will be named mayor for a day. And only Wendy and I will be able to check this off, and that'll be during regular library hours. They might sit in the mayor's chair for a little while, see how it feels. They can write a list of what they would do if they were the mayor. And then on July, yeah, that'll be interesting. Yeah, I bet a lot of people want to do this. On July 13th, for that council meeting, they can start the meeting. They will receive a gavel that says mayor for a day, and so they can hammer if they would like and start the meeting. And then they have to give it back to Mayor Erickson. So everyone who enters will receive a small prize, and they won't know until July 4th if they were the first or not, but sooner is better. Finally, as that great sage Yoda would say, smaller in number are we, but larger in mind. So may the force be with you.
Thank you, Miss Linda. I always learn something from your presentations.
Thank you,
I
ma'am.
didn't know you had a Queen Amidala suit, which you should have worn tonight. That brought the house down.
Yeah,
And
they
that
voted.
was impressive, by the way. And Cheetos are also known as thermal detonators.
Yes, they are.
And
Cheese balls.
we'd love to have some Yoda soda. So
Yes, and
great.
And we have Luke Skywalker.
That's great.
and
Any
Wookie
chance we can
cookies.
Any chance we can let Linda go back to the
Yeah.
party?
Yeah.
Yes.
To the party?
Tell everybody,
Absolutely,
hurry
yeah.
up.
No, that's a great idea. Miss Linda, thank you. Go back and participate in your party.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if
Is that
you
all
want,
right?
absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Great idea, Lisa. Skywater, yeah. It's water, but kind of whiny. So, okay, that concludes item 6F, and on to item number 7. Sam, City Engineer Project Status Reports. Come on up, sir. It's good to see you. The floor is yours.
So I'll be real brief. The report is good as it is. Just want to kind of give an update on the 2252 project. I have reviewed the final plans, had a few comments, so we'll get those addressed probably by the end of the week and to TxDOT early next week. So we should be able to start going out to bid soon. Once they approve the plans, then we can kind of get it set up for going out to bid and city approval. So that's pretty much all I have tonight.
Thanks for all your hard work on that. That's really, really important that we get that
problem.
done. Any other comments from council for Sam Johns?
Yeah, I was gonna,
Please.
that was my question for you, by the way. I was gonna ask you about what the status was on that, how far we percent complete, so.
Yeah.
Thank you for beating me to it.
Oh, no problem, no problem. Yeah, like I said, it's been kind of a tedious process. They changed the alignment, they changed the project limits, so we have to incorporate that, make sure that everything worked together, so. Yes, it's gonna be one project, yes, sir.
Todd? Okay. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
It's good to see you. Okay, that concludes item number 7, and on to item number 8, City Commission and Committee Reports, Recommendations, Possible Actions. 8A is Planning and Zoning. The commission did not meet in April, so there's no update at this time. On to 8B, Quarry Commission. They did not meet in April, so there's no update at this time. Correct, Nancy? No one else? Okay. Water Commission, they did meet in April, and Chairman Mueller is unable to make it tonight on an excused absence, but he did send something for Marissa to read. So, Marissa?
Yes, Chair Mueller sent me a report. It says no recommendations for this month. In our short meeting this month, we reviewed the status of several ongoing projects. I would like to highlight our education subcommittee. We'll move forward with some community outreach on water services, conservation, and the benefits of AMI. We hope to build a plan to engage citizens at an upcoming market days with a water commission booth to help get the word out. More to follow as we continue this effort with city staff. We will not have a meeting in May. Our next meeting is June 21st at 6 p.m. here at City Hall.
Thank you, Marissa. On to item 8D, Wildlife Management Advisory Commission. Is David here tonight for a presentation? Okay, they did meet in April, but he is not here tonight, so there won't be, unless he sent something to us. Okay. So we'll skip to item number 8E, Parks Committee. And Rod Chamberlain is not here tonight, but he does have something that he sent to Nancy. So Nancy, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Mr. Chamberlain wanted me to pass on to council that the Parks Committee continues to work with Public Works to get Paul Davis Park ready for the annual 4th of July celebration. That was it.
Thank you, Nancy. We'll go on to item number 9, approvals and authorizations. The following items are for discussion, consideration, and action. As we move into this section, council, we'll remind each other that we're moving into the Zoning Board of Adjustment section of the agenda and how the City Council is acting in their official capacity as a Zoning Board of Adjustment for the first item. That's 9A. Petition by Ralph and Viola Bradley for a variance to ordinance number 13-12, 2018, Section 5, Residential, 5.1.7.2.4.2, side yards, interior lots, to allow an encroachment of an existing shed 10 feet into the 15-foot side yard setback along the southeast property line of their property at 19808 Regency Run, further known as Lot 2, Block 1, Regency Oaks Subdivision, Unit 1. And I will remind everybody out there that we had a public hearing on this previously, so there's no public hearing on it tonight. But if the Bradleys are here, please come on up if you'd like to. Good evening, Mrs. Bradley. It's good to see you. If you would hit the mic button there, and ma'am, the floor is yours.
Just want to say good evening to everybody. Hope everyone is having a good evening. The last, I think the last paperwork that was submitted was a estimate on.
Mrs. Bradley, can you move the mic just a little bit closer? We're having a hard time
An
hearing you.
estimate
Perfect,
on
thanks.
removal, also an estimate on relocating the shed. And I don't know if we, okay, there they are. I believe that that one is the removal, and I believe that we had one for relocating. That's the removal. Right, that's the removal. And the other, right, is the relocation of the shed. So those are the latest documents that we have that it has been submitted to the administrator for decision and to the council for decision.
Thank you, ma'am. We appreciate that. As a reminder, we asked the Bradleys we tabled this in April, and we asked the Bradleys to go get estimates for specifically the removal of the shed altogether and moving it as well. So thank you for doing that and getting back to us within the month. We appreciate that. Do you have anything else?
No, I don't have anything else.
Okay, thank you. We're going to discuss it now if you want to take your seat.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so that moves us on to 9A1, discuss and take action on the variance. So we have the two bids in front of us. As a board, as a zoning board of adjustment, I would open it up for discussion. We'll start on my right. John, if you have any comments.
My only comment is that $12,000 is a lot of money to move that just a short distance. That's
So I
all
think to
have say.
clarify, it's $5,500 to remove it altogether and dispose of it. It's $6,500 to move it. So not 12,000 together. I mean, together they add up to 12,000, but they're separate bids, separated by $1,000. So it's 5,500 and then 6,500. Lisa?
I'm assuming there's been no conversation with the builder still of the shed, the contractor.
To my knowledge, I don't know, and we're
Okay,
getting a
she's
head
shaking-
nod, no.
she's shaking her head.
Right.
Okay.
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 Thank you, Ms. Bradley.
Thank
So,
you.
so everybody knows that there's been no contact. They've tried to reach out to the builder, the original builder, contractor, and he has not responded with multiple attempts. Anything else? Okay, Jesse.
Now, I go back to my comments that I made last time, was that the permit was signed by both the contractor and Mrs. Bradley, and, you know, the permit clearly stated that the setback line was 15 feet away. So to me, that's an agreement from both of them that they accepted that, so I'm going back to that signed permit as the, you know, basis for any decisions or any way I'll go tonight.
Okay, thank you, Jesse. Todd?
It's unfortunate, but this also happens with unscrupulous contractors that disappear. They'll come in and take your money and disappear. And I hate to see it happen to one of our citizens, and hopefully the name of that person gets broadcast by the citizen. so that this does not happen to somebody else in our city. It's an unfortunate reality. I'm kind of the mindset that we don't need to punish a citizen for the act of their contractor. They did both sign the building permit, acknowledge the setbacks and all that, but the guy didn't execute it. He didn't build it in the right location. So I guess those are my thoughts on that. Is we've got an unscrupulous contractor that took advantage of a citizen in the city, and I don't like that.
Okay, thank you, Todd. Kay?
I agree with Jesse in the sense that I do feel like we're all responsible for our own signatures and our own approvals. We can't all be there on site, obviously, when a job is done. I think it's a shame the contractor's not answering the phone, which tells me he's probably not out of business. And if he's, I think it's worth pursuing with small claims court to recoup the damages.
Okay. Thank you. So, anybody else before I give a couple of comments? Okay, so I can see this both ways. It's a beautiful shed and matches the house and good storage for our resident. Unfortunately, it is 10 feet into a 15-foot setback that was signed and acknowledged, that's been part of the ordinance for a long time. And the reason for that is for aesthetic value and to make sure things aren't set back too closely to property lines and fence lines. So my concern as the mayor is for the city and the integrity and intent of the ordinance, that while I greatly sympathize and empathize with the Bradleys in this case and wish that the contractor would have built it correctly and would be answering their phone calls and queries for information, I sympathize, but I look at what the ordinance says and their signatures and the precedents that this would set as a council, granting a variance that's 10 feet, 2/3 into a 15-foot setback, the precedent that sends. I'm concerned about that while I remain sympathetic and empathetic. So you could argue that we could, due to hardship, based on $6,500 to move it or $5,500 to take it away, that could be granted as, we could grant the variance for, the request for variance for the ordinance based on hardship, that's a lot of money. And that is true. However, I'm concerned as the mayor about the precedents that we set as a council and as a city by granting this request for variance, and what we open ourselves up to as a city for future requests for variance as a board, as a zoning board of adjustment, what that means for us in the future. So, any further discussion on that?
Yeah, I just want to add the same, following on your comments there, is that, what's to keep this from happening again? If we grant this variance request, somebody else could do the same thing, get a permit, build it, and then come ask for forgiveness afterwards. And then we just do a slap on the wrist again, So it's what the impact has in the future. So adding on to your comments, but that's my thoughts as well.
Yes, sir. And again, those comments and thoughts are sympathetic and empathetic to the owners greatly. But looking at the city as a whole, what do we open ourselves up to as a city later on, including when, all 6 of us are not up here, So in protecting the city and the integrity and spirit of the ordinance. Anybody else? Okay. So discussion has been had. would like to take action on this request for variance. So with our discussion in mind, do I have a motion?
Okay, I'm going to step out here and say I make a motion to deny this request.
Okay, we have a motion to deny the request for variance. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion to deny the request for variance, and we have a second. Is there further discussion on this? Cynthia, do we need to clarify what we're using as to deny the request if the motion passes?
Yes, sir, we should reference, the items on our checklist as to what the points are and why the council is denying the request.
Okay. Marissa or Kat, can you call that up really quickly? Okay, council, you have in front of you or behind you are findings necessary to grant a variance to a zoning ordinance or obviously to deny it. So with the motion that's on the table, we would not find any of these as a yes.
So I looked at this beforehand, and I identified three items here to be yeses. The third one, which is, we talked about financial in nature, and it says if it's merely financial in nature, then it should deny. The next one is created by the owner of the property, whether it's the owner of the property, the contractor. You can argue that back and forth. There's another one. And then the last one is weaken the seventh one. The variance substantially weakens the general purpose of the ordinance, which is what we discussed about sending the president. So those are my summation of those. So I'm interested in other comments.
Cynthia, would that suffice legally? Okay. Do we need to amend the motion? Okay. Thank you very much. Continued discussion?
Yeah, I suppose I'm with Jesse on this one. In particular, will the variance substantially weaken the general purposes of the ordinance? And I do think that would be an issue.
Further discussion? Okay.
Yes, I concur with that discussion, with my experience and so on planning and zoning. Again, I've seen it, I've gone by there and I've seen the shed and it is attractive, the whole yard's attractive for that matter. I'm just hoping that you can just move it in to where it's quote-unquote legal. I do think this is just an oversight. I mean, I certainly believe you that this was possibly in the hands of, even though you did sign it, that the contractor at least owes you the respect of a reply. And if not, I do hope you'll go to small claims court and try to get this resolved for the benefit of everyone, really. Thank you.
Thank you, Kay. Any further discussion with the motion that's on the table? Okay, I'll call it to a vote. All in favor of the motion to deny the request for variance?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay, it carries 4-1. And the request for variance is denied based on the discussion that we've had and the vote. Okay, moving on to ordinance number 9B, ordinance number 1805-2022, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Garden Ridge, Texas, establishing regulations for the control and care of animals in the city of Garden Ridge, establishing related service fees, providing a penalty for violations of this ordinance, providing a cumulative and savings clause, providing for severability, and declaring an effective date. These are, I'm going to let Lisa discuss the background information on this and why the proposed amendments to the ordinance are in place that you have in your council packet. So Lisa, do you wish to speak to this?
Okay, so I'm excited to bring this forward. Been working on it for almost a year. It'll be a year end of June. And, you know, worked on it with Nancy and Rob, and Eric's contributed from animal control. So let me, I guess, start with the story. So about a year ago, I was contacted by a citizen that had an animal ordinance question in regards to her pig. They had gotten a mini pig in 2017. They looked at the website, tried to understand the animal control ordinance. It was difficult to find, difficult to understand, and they sort of just left confused about, you know, what they should do with the pig, and just kind of carried forward. So as we know, Ordinance 18 was revised in 2018, and things became much clearer. It was more accessible on the website, easy to find, easier to understand. And it was pretty specific about no swine in the city. So fast forward to 2020, the pig, who was originally named Poindexter and then abbreviated to Dexter, and that name was too close to their dog's name, and they were calling the dog and the pig at the same time. And then he eventually was called Fat Boy. So Fat Boy's been living with them for 4 years, playing in the yard, sleeping on the sofa, very domesticated pet, you know, does his tricks, loves his family. But he was seen in the backyard by animal control, and animal control said, hey, listen, this is, I'm sorry to have to tell you this, but this is outside the city ordinance. This is not, this is prohibited by the city ordinance, and you're going to have to get rid of your family pet. And was the, you know, and animal control is just following the law, and so they rehomed their pet in to a rescue organization. And a year later, after visiting the pig every month, a couple times a month, bringing Fat Boy his salad, after about a year, they felt like he wasn't in a, it was, things were degrading, that the rescue center had become overpopulated, and the Fat Boy was not thriving. So they took Fat Boy from there and moved him in with some families on some acreage, and that house is up for sale. So it was about that time I got that call. They moved him from the rescue, then moved him to family. So a year ago I got the call, and it made me sort of really look a bit further into the ordinance. The ordinance certainly was never designed to take away a domesticated pet. And potbelly pigs are more akin to dogs and cats, you know, regular feeding schedule. They go outside to use the restroom. They're affectionate. They sit on the sofa, sleep in a bed. And that was, again, taking away somebody's pet was not the intent of the law. The intent of, I mean, the potbelly pigs aren't being raised for food, fiber, or farm labor. They, like I said, they are more akin to a house pet. And I looked a little further. There's several cities and many cities in Texas that do allow pot-bellied pigs, including Garland, Carrollton, Arlington, McKinney, Temple, and Louisville. So I think there's an opportunity here to bring Fat Boy home. It's not specific to him, but it was sort of the inspiration for re-looking at this ordinance.
Thank you, Lisa. Appreciate all your work on this for the last year, and well spoken. I'll go back this way. John, any comments on it?
How tall is Fat Boy? Is he over 24 inches?
I don't believe so,
I
no.
don't think so.
I got nothing to say, nothing else.
Jesse?
Good work. I have nothing to say. I support the change.
Todd? Okay.
Thank you for all the work. I do respect the family for respecting our ordinance and trying. And I also respect them probably more for keeping an eye on Fat Boy. And I would like to see a picture of Fat Boy next month. Thank you.
Thank you, Kay. I'd like to thank you for all your hard work. This is exactly what an elected official as a representative of citizens and residents is supposed to do. So you were very diligent, you were patient, you were tenacious, and worked with the city staff very well, and good job. So, and we have we've amended Ordinance 18 so that it is fairly restrictive on a potbelly pig and very specific. So I think we've covered all our bases here. So as the mayor, I fully support this. Anybody else have anything before we ask for a motion? John, turn your mic on.
Yes, can you go back to B? Unlawful to keep a pet pig outdoors. That, it seems like, just like a dog, you got a pet dog, put it outside for a few hours or for the whole day, and then you bring it inside. Kay would know more about that. But that just seems, I kind of wonder about that, except for the possibility that pigs are rooters and could escape a lot easier. I really don't know. I just question that.
So I read this as the intent of item B would be, hey, it's not an outside pet.
Right.
So, yeah. Don't keep it chained up in the yard, which we
I
don't
can't
do
imagine
with a regular dog.
200-pound pig sitting on the couch.
That'll be part of the pictures.
Yeah, if we get this passed, you'll see pictures.
Okay.
I mean, might get excited watching Peppa Pig or something. I don't know.
All right, any further discussion? Thanks, John. All right, if no further discussion is there, can I have a motion?
I move to approve the revision of Ordinance 18 as presented.
We have a motion to approve the amendments as presented.
I second it.
We have a second. Any further discussion? Call to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously with the provision that we have a picture next month,
Yes.
right? Okay. good.
Pictures required.
Yeah,
Yes.
yes.
That's a mantra for my kids.
That's right.
Like, what's going on with Fat Boy?
That's great. Good job, everybody. Okay, 9C, City of Garden Ridge tagline. Okay, so background on this. That's one of the first things we did after the election last May as we came in, was to talk about some things to do with hiring a corporation, a company to help us out, contract out, to help us with our emergency communications as a city and our emergency communications plan, which is still ongoing, but in effect right now. That's the Garden Ridge Emergency Alert System. The other thing we wanted to do was do a better job of marketing the city in anticipation of the future correct, right, strategic development of FM 2252 and the commercial properties there. This is part of that, along with the communications. So we've already rebranded the city with the logo that you all approved 2 months ago. Thank you for that. And we have one last thing to do before we start going out and having cards made and really take this rebranding and marketing for a spin. So, and that is the city tagline. So the current one that some of you were on council for before in 2015 when we presented this is a way of life, not just a place to live. When we conducted the interviews, when DFW Stratcom conducted the interviews with a representative cross-section of our community, almost unanimously in those interviews, there was feedback that that motto, while a good motto, is too long. And if we need something smaller if we're going to rebrand and market our city. So, and we listened to that. So that was how we came about with the two possibilities for rebranding the city with the logo that you guys chose. And so further, going along with our citizens' comments and inputs, they said we need a tagline that's shorter. We wanted to suggest that, hey, we feel at home in Garden Ridge. We like the natural, open, wooded setting, country feel in the midst of urban sprawl. So what DFW Stratcom did was continue to work together, and rather than me continuing to talk about it, let's show the two options that we have available to us tonight. Garden Ridge Naturally Home, and then Garden Ridge Naturally Beautiful, Naturally Home. I'm going to continue here for a little bit and then let you guys in. So my first thoughts were naturally, before I saw this rendition of what it's going to look like on business cards, on letterhead, on a logo, or on a sign, on a banner, up in lights at our laser show on the 4th of July, I liked Naturally Beautiful, Naturally Home. But when I saw it on a card, I thought Naturally Beautiful, Naturally Home looked a little bit too long, which is one of the things we wanted to get away from with our current motto. So I like them both. I think this is cleaner and is simple and elegant and is definitely not too long. So that's my opinion, and I'm not voting on this. You guys are hopefully going to vote on this tonight. And that's all I'm going to say, other than we would, in 2015, there was, the original motto was a resolution. So we would either need to repeal that and adopt a new resolution for whatever you choose to be our new tagline, or simply amend the current one. And I think what we talked about, Marissa and Nancy, was repealing and a new resolution would be the cleanest way to do this, yes?
Yes, most likely. As long as, if council takes action to choose one of them tonight, they would see the resolution next month.
Okay. Okay, so discussion. John?
I like the one on top where it says Garden Ridge and then Texas. I just like it on one line, and I like Texas on there. As far as Naturally Beautiful, Naturally Home, however y'all want to do it, doesn't matter to me. I just like the Garden Ridge, Texas.
Okay, thanks, John. Lisa?
So are we also choosing a font among these listed or among these shown? No, we could do.
So that's something that if council wants to choose tonight, what staff had talked about was that's something that would be in the resolution. But if y'all want to give us input tonight so we know what y'all think about the fonts, that's the 3 different fonts, and you'll see on the last slide, it shows you the different font options. So I think we would love to hear what y'all think about the fonts.
Okay. And it's not on every logo. We don't use it all the time, correctly? Yeah.
Correct. It would, no,
I
it
mean,
would not be on everything.
when do we decide to use the tagline?
I think it really depends. I would say for sure the website,
Right.
just like our current one is right now, it's pretty prominent, like the middle of the homepage. And then going from there, it's really up to us where we use it and how we use it. Yeah, it wouldn't show up on like letterhead with
Right,
our.
okay.
I mean, like right now, you don't see a way of life, not just a place to live. You don't see that very often
don't,
used on like
no.
official city documents
sure.
or anything like
For
that.
sure. Well, I like the first one, the A, the Adobe handwriting Ernie, and naturally home.
Thank you, Lisa. Jesse?
For the font, yes, the first one, like with Lisa. As far as naturally beautiful, naturally home, I go either way. I mean, with either both words or, I mean, all four of the two. My wife picked this one, so I'm gonna vote for her.
I like it. Linda has great taste. Todd?
It's funny, I think we all did that. We need to be careful we don't have too many varying fonts floating around out there about this, so maybe just pick the one. And I agree, simple is brevity is short, so either naturally beautiful or naturally home. I'm good with either one of them, because they're both true. Yeah, and probably that first font's I think that's the best one. I guess if I had to pick one, I'd go with naturally home.
Okay, you'd go with naturally home with the Adobe handwriting Ernie font, the top one. Okay.
I go with Ernie, Adobe, but I'd like handwriting instead of handwritten. But I do like the naturally home.
Okay, thank you, Kay. Any further discussion, council? Can I get a motion? So in this case, the motion would need to say what tagline you like, either naturally beautiful, naturally home, or naturally home, and what font you like to approve.
Are we not deciding green or rust as well?
No, not tonight.
Okay, 'cause-
Those are already our established color
Yeah, so
palettes.
that's just showing you the different
How it
options
would
of
appear.
how it would appear.
Okay.
That's our color palette already, though.
Right, we did that last month, right. Okay, thank you.
So the motion would be what tagline you want and what the font should be. Can I get a motion?
I move to approve the tagline, naturally home with Ernie.
We have a motion to approve naturally home with handwriting Ernie. I just noticed that now. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Thank you, council. Good job. All right. On to item number 9D, City of Garden Ridge 50th Anniversary. We are 2 months out as of today, even though it's a Wednesday. It's May the 4th be with you. So 2 months out from our 50th anniversary celebration. We have the big traditional party and gathering at Paul Davis Park at 9 o'clock in the morning, followed by our city parade. Oh, by the way, that parade began from the picture in the mayor's office on the 4th of July, 1976. So, which is pretty cool, with a fire truck and lots of kids on their 1970s Schwinn's and Huffies, which our two ladies to my far right have no idea what we're talking about, but a couple of us actually rode those bikes. So, and we're in that parade. We could have been. So, that's great. And then we'll follow with in the evening from 6 to 10 p.m. a big celebration here on Municipal Parkway and using Garden Ridge Elementary School parking lot, our parking lot. We have a band. Do we have? Yes. Look at this awesome logo we've got. So the band is Mothership, and they play 70s music. They're going to do 3 sets, playing from 7 to 9:30. That's a long time for a band to play. 3 sets with Led Zeppelin, Queen, and then some other 70s music in through there. followed by at 9:30, right after they're done playing, we have the laser light show, which again, I think is genius. It wasn't my idea, it was Stephen and Nancy doing that, putting that together, that with the cost and how dangerous it would be to with brush and lighting the city on fire, which is a bad thing. We don't want to do that. And with the fact that it's going to be 100 degrees this weekend, and I think it's going to be a really hot summer, and there could be cities that aren't allowed to do fireworks at all. So having a laser light show to celebrate is an outstanding idea, and I'm proud to be part of that. So we are going strong. Our representative to that committee is Kay Bauer. Kay, do you have any other things to add to that, all your hard work?
We continue to acquire more food trucks, or have commitments, I should say. We're pretty full, and we still, we're expanding more. We have Cajun, we have burgers, we have salads, we have wraps, we have pizza, we have, certainly have desserts. We happen to have 3 alcohol trucks. Seem like a good idea. Right. I think, and we continue to, we welcome, of course, we've got these very generous sponsors on our sign, Audi North Park and Hanson. We have other sponsors as well, and it's never too late. If you feel like contributing, get your name out there. There'll be swag bags, really cool swag bags, honoring the 70s. And I don't know, do you have anything? Maybe Nancy has more on sponsorships or something?
No, the only thing I want to add about sponsorships, go to the city's website. The sponsorship application is on the website. There's different levels of sponsorship, different perks available for each sponsorship, and we would love to have some more sponsors.
Never too late for sponsorships. We're still out there hitting the streets with that.
And
That's
keep in
great.
mind, this is all free, please. Thank you.
It's great work. The city staff and employees and the 50th Anniversary Committee, along with the Parks Committee, have worked extremely hard to bring 4th of July together for everybody. Again, it's going to be a huge party, so, and a really good time. And we turned 50, so. Okay, anything else?
No, sir.
Okay, great. All right, on to item number 10, updates in city council projects. 10A1, Davenport High School Homecoming Parade and update on Light the Tower efforts. All right, so last, I think it was September, we talked about allowing Davenport High School to paint the wolf head logo of the Davenport Wolves, Garden Ridge Elementary Wolves, Danville Wolves, up on our water tower. If you're looking at the water tower on the left-hand side of the city seal that's facing the city, and that's something that you can see from the stadium, from the home stands in Davenport Stadium. That's where it would go. That effort is ongoing, so council, you guys all gave a thumbs up and consensus. We proceeded with that. We worked out legally a contract with the Wolves Athletic Booster Club, because they're the ones that would pay for that and pay for the painting and pay for the lighting, with none of that responsibility coming to the city. So, and they know full well when we have to repaint the tower sometime in the future, that they'd have to repaint that wolf head. So we already talked about that. I've discussed that again with Principal Deloach, as well as Mark Mulkey, who's the president of the Wolves Athletic Booster Club, and their officers, and they're all on board. The fundraising continues, and they're just looking to finalize it with the money, and they'd like to have it up before the fall athletic sports schedule starts this fall for the incoming class. So, which is great, because it'll be Davenport High School's first year as no kidding varsity 4A football, and what a great thing that's going to be. You also remember last year they came to us with wanting to host a homecoming parade, and you agreed to that, gave consensus as council, And it turned out that it was the Wednesday before Friday homecoming in September, and it was the single largest event that Garden Ridge has ever hosted. We estimate there were anywhere from 850 to 900 people there, which is higher than our highest turnout for our 4th of July parties, which are crowded. So, and it was a huge, huge success and really solidified our mutual symbiotic relationship and our support for the schools in our community and what the schools do for us as parents and as citizens and residents of Garden Ridge, and what we can give back to them with a show of support. I talked to Principal Deloach about this 2 weeks ago, and I talked to Coach Zimmerhansel a week ago tonight at the parents' football meeting, and they would like to do the exact same thing this year. We're not specific on the date yet, but they want to do it the Wednesday prior to homecoming, and the same route, and they're expecting even more people this year. And they expressed their gratitude to us as a city, to all of you and all of our residents, and they asked for our support again. So what I'm looking for tonight is not a motion, we don't need to do that, but just a thumbs up consensus if you are still in favor of Light the Tower, and then a thumbs up consensus to support the homecoming parade. Their request for us to support that again. They will be here, Coach Zimmerhansel, and then whoever replaces the women's athletic director, as well as Principal Deloach and ROTC will be here at our meeting in July 13th, to brief the fall sports schedule for Davenport High School and also post the colors, just like we did last year. So any discussion before I ask for consensus?
Okay, I'm going to talk.
Okay.
And I've gotten some input from some people in the city. And this does tie into this, I think. I don't know that a lot of people really realize just how incredibly important it is to have our own schools in this city. A community revolves around its citizens, its government, its churches, its businesses, and its schools. Until 2 years ago, we didn't have our own high school. Till 5 years ago, we didn't have our own middle school, even though it's located 5-6 miles away. Our elementary school's been here for, I think, 11 years, something along those lines. So we finally actually have community-based schooling. That's huge. And I can just talk to it from a personal perspective. My wife's a 1987 graduate of Canyon High School. She grew up here in Garden Ridge. We were sending our kids for 40-plus years to a school in another city with another representation, with another school board member, and getting what from it? The chance to ship our kids 20 miles away to go to a school. We now have our own school. I know it's not in the city of Garden Ridge, and it's not just Garden Ridge kids that go to it, but our kids are half that school. So this is huge. This makes us a real big city, big as far as we've got everything we need, and it's a part of our community. And I hope people, maybe me saying something will help folks understand that for years we were shipping our kids up to another district and giving our money away to other people, rather than keeping it here and having the events here and being able to be part of this community. And now I'll get off my soapbox and just say, I love this idea. I think we need to keep doing it. It's huge.
Thank you, Todd. Okay.
I was going to say that endorsing the involvement of our high school is really, to me, not unlike we endorsed and allowed and do still allow GRES choir to come and sing at our event. It's a way of incorporating the schools within our city events. It's highlighting the schools, which are, the kids are the future of the city. And I think it's no different. It's just a grander scale, but it's no different than that.
Thank you, Kay. Lisa, look like you have something to say.
Yes, I agree with both Kay and Todd. We've got a citizen out there referring to the homecoming parade as City Council's pet project, and I think that's such a narrow view. Our schools add life and vibrancy to our communities. They give our seniors an opportunity to attend events, whether it's games or musicals or, you name it, concerts. So I think that, the schools are an integral part of Garden Ridge. And I think it's essential that we keep nurturing that relationship.
Thank you, Lisa. Anybody else? John?
Totally agree. I'm looking forward to some football games. And
Giddy up. Go Wolves, man.
I agree with everything's already been said. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm just thrilled about it. Absolutely. So with that, can I get a consensus and a thumbs up for continuing with the Light the Tower endeavor? Okay, yes? Okay, yes? All right, can I get a consensus and a thumbs up for supporting and hosting the 2022 homecoming parade for Davenport High School? Thumbs up? Okay, awesome. Thank you. Thank you. That's right. All right. Update number 10A2, meeting with Comal County officials concerning new residential development on Bat Cave Road and the impacts on Garden Ridge. All right. So, background on this. Lisa has been working for the past year. All of you do great work with TxDOT and the other projects that no one ever gets to hear about at the dais, with answering emails and phone calls and concerns from citizens and going out and working those problems. All of you do that, and I commend you for those efforts. And I've seen I've seen the fruits of your labor in those endeavors, and thank you for that. One of the things that Lisa specifically has been working on over the past year, and brought it to my attention shortly after the election last year, was the development, the proposed developments that were going to go along just outside of Garden Ridge city limits on Bat Cave Road. And that's the Ben Clare Estates, just past George Ranch, outside of Garden Ridge city limits. Thanks, Marissa. And then another development, and that's 46 acres. Yeah, Ben Clare is right there, just outside of the city limits. And then another development that's called Enchanted Bluff, and that's a total of 500 acres on the other side of Bat Cave Road, going all the way through Comal County, and it eventually crosses Cibolo Creek into Bexar County and San Antonio proper. So Lisa has been working with Scott Hogg, who is our representative to, he's our county commissioner, our direct representative to the Commissioner's Court for Comal County. He was also, if you guys remember, our Grand Marshal for the 4th of July parade last year. He has given us information as he has gotten it along the way about the proposed developments and a little bit of the status of where they were at. One thing that was holding these developments up was accessing water, and because it's in Comal County and the specific issues, and Lisa, jump in anytime, about how did those communities get water, proposed communities. And for a long time, it's been not possible, being outside the city of Garden Ridge, to have a big development like that and meet Comal County's restrictions with that, or their regulations for communities and water development plans. When Davenport High School, when that property was purchased, be careful what you wish for sometimes, because when that property was purchased, in order to get water, the Vista Ridge pipeline was brought in, which goes right through the northwestern section of the city, and Davenport High School taps into that. It's a 16-inch pipe that they pay for 12 inches of to tap into that water source. And then Davenport High School has its own wastewater and water treatment plant adjacent to the city. That's how Davenport High School is able to do that. Because of all of the water in the Vista Ridge pipeline coming through, that pipeline goes all the way down into SAWS, San Antonio Water System, into a treatment plant down there. And they have subsequently, they wanted to be able to provide water per request for Ben Clair and Enchanted Bluffs, but Comal County said, hey, before you do that, SAWS, you got to prove to us that you can supply enough water for development there for the next 20 years. And that's what's kind of held back these projects over the years. Well, SAWS recently demonstrated that they have the ability to provide safe, clean water and enough water to those proposed developments for the next 20 years, based on coming back up the pipeline, and a different pipeline, but the same trench, and they can provide that water. So based on that, the Commissioner's Court for Comal County had no more restrictions for them and said, okay, you meet our regulations, and that project can go forward. That's specifically with Enchanted Bluffs. With Ben Clair, what the developer did with that property is divided it up into 5 5-acre parcels. It's 46. Rob, the math doesn't add up. He's still keeping some of that acreage for himself because he has a house on that property. It's my understanding. And by dividing it up into a different acre parcel, 5-acre parcels, and saying that it was going to be condominiums, that, and hang on a sec because I know that sparks interest there, that he wasn't under those water restrictions from Comal County because it said condominiums rather than single-family homes. So Lisa and I and Nancy went, whoa, what's going on? We don't, that's going to add a lot more traffic to Bat Cave Road, and that's just outside of city limits. The intent was to call them condos, but they're just single condos on acre lots, if you will, within there. Nancy, am I getting this right?
Yeah, just to jump in real quick.
Please.
The reason for the subdivisions of the lots that way is that 5-acre lots or less didn't trigger the water rules that Comal County has. So, and at the time when Ben Clair was platting the property, SAWS did not have, they didn't have their water availability review approved by the county, and the county did not have a utility service agreement with them. So as things advanced, Enchanted Bluff got the advantage of that. By the time Enchanted Bluff came in front of the commissioners, they had established that agreement with SAWS. And so yes, the condominium thing, with Commissioner Hogg describing it, it sounded as if, we also met with the county engineer. The description was more just regular houses, and the lots were considered the condominium part of it. Like it was regime 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. It was more just how they were viewed or named than actual like a condominium kind of property. Does that sound right?
Yeah, so
Okay.
it wasn't big condos going up with one unit with multiple families. So and we think that based on the water availability review from SAWS saying, hey, we can supply water, as well as, like you said, the Comal County saying yes to a utility service agreement with SAWS, that Ben Clair could be replatted to be 1-acre lots, single-family residence. So,
Right now, how big are the lots? 1 acre?
yeah, it's planned 1-acre lots. Okay, so Enchanted Bluffs on the other side of the road is also planned for 1-acre lots, so that's good. but it's 500 acres with proposed 300 to 400 lots and residences as a gated community. Before they end the build to go across Cibolo Creek, the only access to and from will be Bat Cave Road. And the only access to and from, that's Enchanted Bluffs, and to and from Ben Clare will be Bat Cave Road. Hence, our concern about the traffic increase on Bat Cave Road. So it was a good meeting. What we asked for was a little bit more communication coming from Comal County to the city of Garden Ridge. There was a frank discussion about Comal, or city of Garden Ridge, our residents pay more than our fair share of taxes. Hey, Mayor Erickson, everybody does. Yeah, but we don't come to your table very often, and here we are now. We want more communication, and we want to be heard. So that was a frank discussion that was taken well, and we will continue that to press for more communication from our Commissioner's Court for Comal County. Specifically, when this was brought before the Commissioner's Court, we didn't know as a city, and that's a foul in my opinion. So the city should have known about that, and I should have been there. So, or at least the city should have been there to represent all of us and express our concerns about the increased traffic on Bat Cave Road. So that's an ongoing discussion that I'll continue to have with Commissioner Hogg, as well as the Commissioner's Court and Judge Krause as the county judge for Comal County. What I want to specifically address tonight, with all that background from Lisa and myself and Nancy, is what do we do about the traffic, the increased traffic on Bat Cave Road? What we asked for, in addition to the communication, is, hey, can we widen Bat Cave Road? It will be difficult to do. Anybody that drives down Bat Cave Road realizes that we have fence lines, mailboxes, driveways, right, obviously right up onto Bat Cave Road. So in order to widen Bat Cave Road, it would take Comal County and the city, for our section of Bat Cave Road that we own. For everybody that doesn't know this, with Comal County, it's primarily a county road from FM 2252 down to, where does it stop, Nancy? Well, yeah, right before Triumphant is where it's a county road. Post-Triumphant Lutheran to the city limits, it's a city road, and that's our responsibility. What we said is, hey, can we improve that road? Can we at least look at the possibility, do a study to see if it's feasible to widen that road somehow? And it would cost a lot of money, and I don't know that it's feasible with how Bat Cave Road has been built out. By the way, Bat Cave Road is a pre-Civil War road we learned about, so that went to Bat Cave. So I don't know that that's possible, but we asked them to look at that. The other thing we asked them to look at, in anticipation of 2252 being improved and widened, we will have, when it goes to a 4-lane highway, we will have a walking trail going from Tonkawa all the way up to Bat Cave Road. And the purpose of that, and then further, the purpose of that is to be able to, hopefully as residents, walk to or get close to that walking path, park the cars or not take any cars at all, walk to it, and be able to cross 2252 to the hopefully high-end businesses, high-end retails, restaurants, wine bars, whatever you have there, to spend our money here locally with our effort to market the city and help develop responsibly FM 2252. So could we put a walking path or trail down Bat Cave Road. Not the whole thing because of where property lines are and fences and mailboxes, but it's possible you could go basically from, as I drive it twice a day, every day at least, you could go from Wildwind, maybe have to cross the road a couple times to have a winding walkway, sidewalk, if you will. I don't want to call it sidewalk, I want to call it walkway. They are looking into that. We were told they would take a look at that, at least. They were not in favor of that. I'm not going to go into why right now. The other thing we did is we said, hey, whatever you do to improve Bat Cave Road, your section, we will match as a city. What we specifically wanted to ask them is, as 2252, and Bat Cave needs to be repaved, as 2252 is widened and redone, why couldn't we at the same time improve Bat Cave Road, even if that is just repaving it? You guys do it for your section of Comal County, we'll do it for our section in the city of Garden Ridge. They were amicable about that, certainly non-committal, and it was said, hey, we're not just going to do it because, you know, we redo FM 2252. If it does need to be redone, well, it could use to be repaved. So we are working with that. The other thing, as we increase the traffic count, and just do easy math here, we'll talk about Enchanted Bluffs. So with, we'll say 400, let's just say 300. With 300 lots and developed on there, let's just go with single-family residence and 2 cars each, which is highly conservative. And those cars are traveling Bat Cave Road because that's the only way in or out twice a day, once out to go to work or school, once back in. And that's conservative, twice a day. That's going to increase the traffic count on Bat Cave Road by 600 to 700 cars a day. That's a lot for Bat Cave Road, a small 2-lane road. So and that was a consensus, like how does that support it? So, well, you're going to have a light at Bat Cave Road and FM 2252. Yeah, in 18 months, yep, and that'll help a little bit, but it's still going to back up traffic. So how do we entice people to not use Bat Cave exclusively and get to 3009? And here's the one piece of good news that I've got for all of you, we've got for all of you and everybody out there, is that we want to improve and widen FM 3009. So Comal County has their preference of development with road improvements going to TxDOT that is supported through the Alamo Area Metropolitan Planning Organization. Thank you. So the AAMPO, the MPO advocated for our community to finish off FM 2252 all the way to the intersection of 3009. That money, the original project, didn't include getting all the way to the intersection. You can imagine the pain of shortly past Bat Cave Road coming towards the city on FM 2252 if it goes from 4 lanes to 2 lanes to get to the intersection. That was not going to work very well. So the MPO advocated on behalf of the city of Garden Ridge and Comal County to find the money, to spend the money to take that construction all the way past the intersection of FM 22 and FM 3009, 4-lane highway, which is good. They did that because Comal County prioritized their 12 road projects to the MPO. And at the time, the number one was FM 2252 and 3009.
And just to jump in there, why FM 2252 was number 1 was because they recognized that if there's an accident on 35, everybody's funneling down 2252. You see it all the time. I mean, I can drive down Bat Cave, look both ways, and I know there's an accident out there somewhere. So they realized that it had to be addressed.
Absolutely. Thank you, Lisa. That's perfect. So currently, it sits from 1 to 12, it sits at priority number 9 and doesn't include making FM 3009 a 4-lane, widen it to a 4-lane highway from the intersection of FM 2252 all the way through the city. So what we did is, I think, had a consensus. Obviously, the three of us were of consensus, and Commissioner Hogg did say, no, that sounds like a pretty good idea, and we will work with the Commissioner's Court and Judge Krause to reprioritize that from number to specifically widening it from 2-lane to 4-lane from the intersection of 2252, roughly the city limits, to past Davenport High School is the latest that we heard from them, which is great. So that'll help with traffic. That'll help with a lot of things. And that will entice people to, new residents, to not exclusively use Batcave, but to get to 3009, even going the back way to 3009 along Batcave to reduce the traffic count on Batcave Road. So that's the background from myself, Lisa, and Nancy with our meeting on these developments. What we're looking for tonight is to possibly express our concern as a council and put it on record about the developments going on Batcave Road outside of the city limits and what they're going to do to the traffic count on Batcave Road and FM 3009, and our intent to work as partners with Comal County, specifically the Commissioner's Court, to remedy whatever we can, to remedy that situation as best we can. We can't control the growth. We're the second, by some counts, the highest growth county in the nation over the last 10 years. Could be second right behind Boise, Idaho, depending on what website you go to. But everybody wants to come and live here, and we know why. So we can't control the growth, but we can help manage the impact of that growth. So before we propose action on it, I'll open it up to discussion, further discussion. John? Good to go. Lisa, what else?
Yeah, I just wanted to add one more thing, which I think is a big bonus here as well. If they choose our project and we accept Metropolitan Planning Organization money, by federal law, we are required to put in a bike walking path. So we would end up with a bike walking path on 3009 that would connect to the federally funded one on 2252. So I think that would make, that'd be a great improvement.
Yeah, great comment. So there's already going to be one if we get this to go. Jesse?
Thanks to both of y'all for the work y'all have done with that, Nancy too. This is great work, information that, I've heard bits and pieces, so this is a great update. I mean, has anybody thought about trying to connect 3009 with Evans or something like that? Trying to go around us? There's one thought I'd throw out there, but I mean, it's a long path. It's not easy to do, but just wondering if instead of keep routing the traffic through here, routing traffic out somewhere else. It doesn't help this subdivision, but maybe even having an exit from this Enchanted Path, go to Evans Road or something. So like that,
There was talk years ago about cutting across from 35 to 2252 south of our city limits. And that would be wonderful because all that traffic so much of it would take the shortcut. But unfortunately, it was just talk.
Yeah, great comments, John, and I don't know.
Yeah, need other paths is all.
Todd? Uh-oh, here we go.
Okay. I'm going to put out some thoughts here, and y'all can throw spears back at me or however we're going to do this. Adding 600-plus cars a day onto Batcave Road as it comes through the city and onto the county land past, and I'll admit it, where my house is not a tenable position. It will not work. The traffic is already a problem. My house is down the hill. trying to turn out. I've come close to getting hit several times because people are coming off the stoplight that goes into Wild Wind and they're going like a bat out of hell down Batcave. And I commend the sheriff's office and our police department, because whenever I complain about it, the police officer shows up out there and throws some radar and I see him pulling people over, so I appreciate that. One of the problems along Batcave, and I've looked at this over the years that I've been on council, is every property along there on that county-owned stretch has a different easement. My own personal property is 6 inches from the edge of the road. So that's going to be a nightmare to try to widen it. And I do agree that it needs to happen. And that pains me to say that, but it needs to happen. Somebody's going to get killed. Somebody biking on it or walking on it is going to get killed. And that would be a shame. And then now's where I'm going to put my grumpy hat on. If the road can't handle the traffic, is there a legal way we can stop the development from happening? Not, you know, we can't go, you can't develop it until you improve the road. Because the developers come in and they build these houses and do nothing to improve the infrastructure in the area. Other thoughts that come to my mind, if I'm going to drop 300 to 400 new houses into here, guess what? Our schools aren't big enough. The roads can't handle it, our schools aren't big enough, all this stuff is going on, and I know it's because we're high growth, but we need to think forward instead of trying to react to what's happening already. Okay, so that answered the one question I had, was if we've got a legal challenge there, I think we do it. I want to work with Canal County, but if they're not going to talk to us about it, I don't want to be particularly nice. Sorry, Scott. But if you're not going to communicate with the municipality that you're going to pass this traffic through, then that's not a partnership. That's a one-sided conversation. Widening it to take them out to 3009 probably is the best option. Is there another option that gets them a bridge across the creek and they go out over towards Veterans Memorial and widen that road up? Because that's where they're going to end up coming out on that side as well. And that has some very obvious extreme traffic benefit to us, particularly for the 500-plus acres that goes in there. And maybe that's something we need to discuss through the Commissioner's Court and down to Bear County, is to have a road put in that comes essentially out the back of that subdivision land, across the creek and over onto, is that Evans still going that direction? And onto that, and have them widen Evans where it goes by Veterans Memorial, because that's, I can't publicly use the proper term for what that looks like in the morning when the kids are trying to get to and from Veterans Memorial. It's a show, and not a good one. So I know I've got a lot of thoughts here, but it's, the growth is going to happen. We have to support it. We need to control it as much as we possibly can. And you'll hear more about this when we get onto the future agenda items portion.
So by control, you mean mitigate the impacts?
Mitigate the impacts. We've got to keep it possible. I mean, with a stop sign at Wildwind, let's just go worst case scenario here for a second, then I'll quit talking. We got stop signs there at Wildwind. When you get to rush hour, you already get cars stacked up 6 or 8 deep. I'm going to triple the traffic flow there. So, and then we're going to put a stoplight at the end of Batcave Road. So what you're going to have during rush hour is Batcave Road at a standstill from 2252 up to Marbach or beyond. It's not tenable. It's not going to work. And there has to be a good solution put into it. So I love the idea of widening it, taking them out to 3009, but I think we need to look further than that. A road needs to be punched probably through that subdivision and out the backside and over to Evans, and have them widen Evans up as well. I can't see anything else that's going to work.
They're already
going to
own that property.
So
build that road.
Yeah.
Provide another.
Build that road,
entrance and
build
exit.
that bridge, get them out onto Evans, then we're going to have to fight to get Evans Road widened because it's already a massive traffic jam when the school lets out or is going in. But I think we've got to think along those ways. There's got to be another outlet.
I like that idea.
You know, I can't even imagine what the county would go through to try to come in and get easements from all the property owners along Batcave on that piece.
Yourself included. So
I'll play ball. I already got in my mind what I want for it, so. But other people are going to run into other problems. You got the folks in Forest Waters that butt up against it. If you take and move their thing in 10 feet, guess what? Now they don't have enough land to have a septic system. So there's a lot of problems here, and obviously I've thought about this a lot over the years, because I knew it was coming. It's anybody with half a brain like me can look at it and go, it's going to happen. There's too much land along there, and it's too valuable with all the growth. So
I agree.
I guess my big part of this one would be is I think we really need to push hard on that button of they've got to have another way out. It can't just go down Batcave. That is not going to work.
I agree.
All right.
Thank you.
I'll get off my soapbox
No,
now.
it's a good soapbox. Okay.
Just for consideration, when Wildwind was being developed, Tonkawa Pass, there was a consideration to take it, extend it beyond where it is and to come out on Beinsel. And they overruled that. We overruled that because it would have made Tonkawa Pass a raceway. Because people would come down, they would take a shortcut off 3009 onto Batcave, and they'd detour down through Tonkawa, which would now take it through the Forest of Garden Ridge. Just food for thought. Also, back on planning and zoning, when Triumphant Lutheran wanted to create their monument sign, it was contingent upon the fact that it would be at their cost. Should we ever have to improve the road, they would have to relocate their sign at their cost.
Thank you, Kay. That's great knowledge, great experience. Thanks for bringing that. All good thoughts. Okay, so in this, any further discussion? Because it's a good discussion, and we need to have it. Okay, so what we would need, because we're in updates and not approvals and authorizations, we would just need a consensus from council to work to draft a resolution of intent to continue working with Comal County Commissioners Court to mitigate the impacts of the developments, proposed developments along Batcave Road, to include Batcave and FM 3009. Does that work, Marissa and Nancy, from what we discussed previously? Cynthia, does that work for you? Okay. Before I go further then and ask for that consensus, I do want to say that we have Comal County has a wonderful, a very good Commissioners Court led by Judge Krause, and we will continue that good working relationship. But I do want to say that, hey, I know Garden Ridge hasn't always been at the table asking for much. We kind of sit down here with 4,266 people, according to the last census, and we're on the southern part of the county. But we're talking now, and we're going to keep on talking, and we want to continue that great working relationship to act on those things. Wanted to make sure that's clear. We have a great relationship with them, and we thank them for what they do. Can I have a consensus via thumbs up again for working towards this resolution and coming back to having city staff do that, coming back to council with it, hopefully in June? Thumbs up? Okay, that works? Cynthia, you look like it.
She's smiling.
She's smiling. Okay, good. Okay, that concludes 10A2. 10A3 is traffic along FM 3009. And yeah, and Kay, your forethought to put this on the agenda led to that discussion. So thank you. Do you have anything else to add based on that discussion? Because that's what you wanted to talk about, right? Part of it.
Yes, sir. Well, because of TML and so on, obviously the three of us cannot work together. And as I mentioned last time, I looped in with Conservation Society and so on because of their concerns. It will, and I went to a Batcave, literally the Batcave event Monday night, and it is a concern to them. Development coming in to their 3,500 acres could impact the gazillions of bats that live there. So again, I'm looped into the Zoom meetings and so on and so forth, and what I do is forward my information to Nancy so she can disperse it to us to stay in line with our own compliance and so on. So because they're feeding back on the Water Alliance as well as Animal and Critter Alliance, so to speak. So we'll just, I think as a team, just keep going forward. And again, there's nothing we can do about it. but it's important that we keep our citizens informed. And just like anything else we do, sometimes just brainstorming, citizen input sometimes just sparks terrific ideas or maybe connections or experiences any of you have had in other cities that maybe could help us resolve this, things you've seen done or where you've lived and so on before. So anything at all that you can share with us, with any of us, and we can just continue to broadcast it and then keep the citizens informed.
Thank you, Kay. Lisa?
Yeah, I just wanted to add one other thing about 399 and traffic. I'm a little obsessed with the corner of 399 and 2252 and what we're going to do there with the existing properties. And Nancy and I got a good look at what TxDOT's latest plan is. And it's going to be, I mean, they're taking a good, they're going to lift the grade, correct? So there's not going to be this big dip. And they will move, I originally thought there was not going to be an entrance into that lot on 2252, but there is, but it's going to be further down. So it actually would come in behind the building. Is that making sense? Yes.
Provide a little bit more information, I think, than what you and I perhaps are able to tell from the documents we're looking at.
Those documents are hard to read, Sam.
I'm an engineer, I struggle with them too. So what they're gonna do, you're talking about the existing gas station, how you have
Right, how that
steep-
whole intersection
So
is going to
they're-
play out.
What they're gonna do, they're gonna cut that down some. You'll still have a retaining wall, so you're still gonna have a drop, but they're gonna make it to where it's more manageable. And then the drive, the entrance to the gas station will be pushed further back from the intersection. So that's their plan from what I can tell.
That would, and it's farther enough back that that would end up going behind the existing buildings?
It's either behind or kind of like, yeah, it has to be behind.
It has to,
Yes, yes, that's correct.
Okay, so there's going to be a lot of changes on that corner.
Yes. Yeah, and they're gonna have to move their sign that's there now, that's gonna have to be moved, relocated.
Do we think they're going to have to relocate their underground tanks?
No, they're not in the way
They're
of
not
the
in the zone,
easement.
but the pumps are.
They're gonna be pretty close.
Yeah.
To the right of way.
Okay.
Yeah, so they may have to move them. I haven't heard anything from TxDOT in regards to that, but they did tell me about the sign that had to be removed and things of that nature.
Okay, okay.
But you're still gonna have that, like I said, you're still gonna have that incline.
Okay.
But it's not gonna be as drastic,
Yes.
to my understanding.
Okay, okay, good to know. Thank you.
Thanks, Sam.
Nancy again.
Is that incline going to remain as a area of ingress and egress into the station, or will they be strictly using that drive that they're showing that's been moved?
The drive will be the only access to the gas station, to that property.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks so much, Sam, and great questions, Lisa and Nancy, great additions there. Anybody else? Further discussion? Great job, and thanks for bringing that, putting it on the agenda, Kay. Very well done. The only other thing I want to say in regards to this, along with traffic increase, is we have some excellent inputs coming from residents who don't technically live in Garden Ridge, but live on and around Batcave. We have some great inputs coming in from all of you, and I want to make sure that you keep that coming, and we'll partner with you and act with you for the greater good. So thanks for what you're doing out there. Okay, that concludes item number 10. On to item number 11, discussion of future agenda items. Anybody have anything they want on the agenda? John, parting shots?
But decided I didn't want to burden them with you.
Lisa? Jesse? Todd?
I warned you I was going to bring something up here, and it's open to discussion on how we want to do this, folks. We need to really start looking at how we're going to mitigate the growth around the city. Years ago, when I first got on council, I sat in a meeting And I'll paraphrase kind of what I said, but one of the things that worries me with Garden Ridge is we're going to end up a diamond in a goat's backside. It sure is pretty, and it's surrounded by, and we're not really sure why it's there. These developments coming up around us, they're 1 acres, they're going to be high-end homes. That kind of fits with what we want, but there's nothing stopping somebody from going right outside the city limits and putting in a high-density subdivision, things that aren't really in keeping with what Garden Ridge is. So what I would like to discuss with everybody up here is how do we want to approach this as an agenda item going into the future with the idea of potentially, and I've brought this up before, expanding the city limits of Garden Ridge. I know that's hard to do, but it's one way to help things out. And two, working directly with the county and the other entities around here to ensure that we don't get surrounded and buried.
So what you want on the agenda is mitigation of the impacts of growth and encroachment on Garden Ridge.
That's a good way to surmise it. Yeah,
Okay.
I think that would work.
Good.
Because I think we need to start talking about that. These subdivisions coming in up on Bat Cave are just another piece of it. We're pretty well protected. There's acreage that's out there up the creek, up Bat Cave, but up the creek, until you get to where the Bracken Bat Cave is, and then from there you get into the Bat Cave land, and then you've got the Natural Bridge Caverns, the Wildlife Ranch, and all that stuff. But there's an awful lot of acreage on the other side of 3009 that's untouched. And that's another place where we're going to have to be aware of what's trying to be developed there and not get surprised by Canal County, for lack of a better way to put it.
So mitigation of the impacts of growth and encroachment on Garden Ridge.
Sure, let's start with that and we'll modify it a little bit.
I like it.
I'm voicing some of my concerns.
No, it's good. It's good stuff. Thank you very much. Kay. Okay. I have something I'd like to add. City partnership with Tri-County Chamber of Commerce. Anybody else? All right, outstanding. On to item number 12, citizen comment period. You don't have to have signed up to speak, but when you do come up to speak, we can't comment on what you have to say, but we encourage you to come on up. Please state your name and where you live, your address. Anything else we need, Marissa, for that? And sign afterwards so we have a record of it. And sir, you have 2 minutes. Good to see you again.
Oh, I thought I was going to get 6 since it's second at bat. Well, Mayor, City Council, again, thank you for allowing me to come to you and speak. But I would just say that according to Nancy, I don't know how many HOAs we have in the city, but we are the first HOA who reached out to the city to establish a partnership with the city government. And also, I would ask you that we would work together across the drainage ditch, so to speak. And I would ask that we coordinate to get you out, as we used to say in the Army, to do a terrain walk. So you can see these ditches, so you can smell these ditches, so you can see what the citizens are experiencing each day. And also that will give you the opportunity to walk the patch of forest, the control passes, and talk to some of your citizens and get their firsthand opinion versus the HOA president. So I just ask that we come together, work together, and establish a partnership and some meetings so we can work through this process. But as I said earlier, time is a luxury, but we don't have time on Concho Pass. We're about 2 severe torrential storms away from a fish line being consumed. Okay, because one, we know the developer did not do his due diligence in going out there and preparing that ground the way it should have been prepared. So I just ask that we work together and come together and do that terrain walk, and we'll coordinate with the Nancy to make that happen so you can see it firsthand. And I know the citizens of my community would greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am. Oh, take turns here. Yes, sir. Floor is yours.
Hey, Good evening, Rob. Roger Parker. I've kind of been in touch with Lisa, Rob, as well as Kay Bauer, and kind of heading up, live at the end of Bat Cave Road where all this development's going in, kind of been on top of it. Todd, I want to comment, you're exactly right about being proactive about where this development's headed. When Saws and the call that Kay and I was on with Saws a couple of weeks ago, anywhere that Vista Ridge water line runs through Garden Ridge just like it does, they told us at Saws that they have the ability, it's in their CCM, that they can deliver water to any of that property all the way up to the caverns should they want to do it, should the developer want to pay for that infrastructure for those developments. So I think it's like Todd said, you better get your big boy britches on because the houses are coming with the water that they have. They have basically have overpaid for water coming from Burleson County. I believe what we understood from Saws is that they have plenty of water. They need to sell it because right now if they don't use it, they're wasting it. They don't have anywhere to store it. When Davenport High School went in, that water goes all the way to the processing plant at Reagan, over there in Stone Oak area. It comes all the way down to Davenport. They plan to extend that line wherever a developer wants. There's 250 acres for sale out here on Schoenthal Road that's going to back up right behind the city to the east. The developments are coming. So the questions that concerns we have on Bat Cave Road as we watched the, whatever it's called, Ben Clare Heimer Estates, our understanding it is a condo labeled legal development. My background is banking and real estate, so that's what we see. There's a little bit of a loophole here on development. What they're able to do is they're able to come in there and kind of high pack, high density. They could put as many as 13 to 15 houses per each of those 5 lots. Somebody made the comment, I think, too, that there could be some change in that platting now that Saws and that water was approved by our county. So the commissioners, we had reached out to them and the judge. They did not have to approve that Saws water availability report. In my mind, it's a little tongue-in-cheek. It's a foul ball, and it's a big foul.
Thanks, Roger.
And they should have been in touch with y'all.
Appreciate your input. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. So I'm a resident on Apache Forest in the woods of Garden Ridge. We have been there.
Can you say your name, ma'am?
I'm sorry, Ann Marsh. So we'll be there 2 years in September. I live next door to a drainage ditch where the odor is very foul. We like to entertain. We have to always apologize to our guests when they come over for gatherings because of the smell is so atrocious. I do have 2 young daughters, and they can't even go outside. I'm an advocate of not having them on social media or their phones. I want them to be outside like I was when I was growing up, but I can't have that because of the smell of the drainage ditch. And I want to also add if there was a underground water study, because I have reason to believe that my house is over water. My husband and I's bedroom is on one side of the house, my girls are on the other. I have nightmares, am I over a sinkhole? I have several cracked tiles. Every time it rains, there's cracked tiles 3 to 4 days later. These cracked tiles sound like gunfire. It triggers my husband's PTSD, where he served 2 tours, for this country. It scares my girls. So I have cracked ceilings, cracked walls, and we spent a lot of money on this home. And again, we've been there a little over a year and a half. It'll be 2 years in September. So there's a lot of concerns. Our land is flat, so I believe that we're getting water from up the hill of Apache Forest, coming this way and down this way, okay? And then here's a drainage ditch next door to our home. So we're needing something to be done. Was not happy that you guys did release Chesmar, their duties or what have you, because I do feel like Chesmar did a very bad job, coupled with sewage water running from people's septic tank. It's nasty where I have grass growing in front of my driveway, and it's septic poop, pissy water that I have to pull the grass. I love my yard. And I'm pulling, with my bare hands, because if I have gloves on, I can't grasp it, you know? So we're pleading with you as a resident. I love Garden Ridge. I grew up in San Antonio, Texas. I'm born and raised. As a kid, I come to Garden Ridge. I always said, I
Thank you,
wish I
ma'am.
could live here.
Thanks for your inputs.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Remember, we can't comment on what you have to say, but please state your name and your address, then sign in afterwards.
Understand.
Thanks.
Robert Aguilar. I live at 8275 Apache Forest. So I live actually next to, or 2 houses down from one of the homes that their sewage from their drip system in their front yard leaks and pours into the street. In my cul-de-sac where I live right in front of, I have to drive through it every day. It's always wet. You can see the stains in the asphalt. It stinks. Unfortunately, when I drive into my driveway, that gets carried in. So there's no point in washing your vehicle because guess what? You carry it in, and if you park in your garage, you carry that in there too. And, you know, spend a lot of money to live in this beautiful place, you know, Garden Ridge, where it was a dream to live here. We're happy to be here, but somebody needs to really step in and take a look at these septic sewage that's leaking into the streets that our residents are dealing with within the drainage systems. The reason why I mention that is because when you're doing these septic plans, there's rules. They have to be per code, spraying and dripping within these areas. So I find it ironic that that sewage is dripping into the street against the code, but yet we're finding against the tenant that was taken, or the homeowner that was taken advantage of by a poor contractor in placing their shed in the wrong spot. So why are we not holding the builder accountable for fixing the septic that's leaking into the street? And when you drive down Apache Forest, you can see it right on the curb where it just leaks. Several areas, you can see it. There's mold, there's green stuff walking through. I don't even let my dogs walk through there. And the hard part is I really can't take my dogs walking out because every time I want to go through, there's rarely a spot that's dry that you can walk out and leave that cul-de-sac. So I would appreciate if the city can take a second look, go back out there and enforce whatever standards are supposed to be applied to septic drainage systems, you know, within the city of Garden Ridge. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Can you sign in with Marissa? Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Oh, yes, ma'am. The mic is still on, so.
Good evening. My name is Paula Stampley. I live at 8226 Shining Elk. I also live in the woods in Garden Ridge. And my concerns are, one would be when I recently visited Comal County, I discovered that Garden Ridge does not offer any type of exemptions above or beyond the, I think it's the homestead exemption. And I would like to, the county to, the city to consider offering additional exemptions for homeowners in Garden Ridge. And then also my other concern is I live on a pretty big lot and my house sits far back from the curb. And so we have a lot of grass in the front as well as mulch. Recently, I guess earlier this year and the end of last year, we had hogs come through and just demolish the entire front lawn of my house. And we've already reported it to, you know, Wildlife Services. So I would just like something to be done in regards to the access as far as to our community of these hogs coming in and tearing up the yard. And it costs a lot of money, of course. Garden Ridge is a beautiful community with a lot of high-end properties. And we'd like to keep it that way, but if you're constantly having your yard torn to pieces and then having to go back and redo it only to have it re-torn to pieces, it becomes very bothersome and expensive. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, ma'am. Don't forget to sign in. Thanks. Anyone else? Okay. That concludes citizen comments. Item number 12, we're on to item number 13, reports and comments from mayor and city council members. So, council, anything to add to the items listed? Todd?
I'll talk Boy Scouts like I always do. Couple of things. One of these meetings, I'm thinking the June one might be the best one to get the most recent Eagle Scouts in here at the front of the meeting. If that's a time consideration, like we've done in the past where we recognize their achievement of the rank of Eagle Scout. I'd like to set that up for the June meeting, unless we've got too much stuff on the agenda, and then we can flex that. It'll be probably 5 young men, sorry. And the other report from Boy Scouts is, if you'll notice on 2252, after you cross 3009, there's Adopt a Highway Troop 828. We're doing the road cleanup there. So we just did one here, 2 weekends ago. So there's a lot of stuff, but we've got it. So
Nice work.
You were the inspiration for that, quite frankly, for setting up the families of Garden Ridge doing the main part of 2252 through the city.
Thank you. That's great, great update. Kay?
No, sir.
Okay. Speaking of families of Garden Ridge, we will have another pickup in June. I don't have a specific date with that, just working through vacations and whatnot. We have our Comal County Luncheon next week, right, Nancy? That's next Monday. Love to see as many of you as we can get there. John, would love to, it starts at noon, right? Yeah, love to have you there. Especially given our discussion earlier this meeting. I'll take all the mutual support I can get up there. And then we also have Northeast Partnership Luncheon is next Thursday at 11:30. John, love to have you there again. So, anything else? Okay, I'm going to do a little mayor's prerogative. Nancy's like, oh my gosh, what are you talking about? So is Cynthia. And even I want to thank Councilman John McCaw. Wow, we just had a mass exodus. Councilman John McCaw for 20 years on city council. And this will be his last full week. We don't canvass the election until the 18th. So still a member of city council. And we will talk much more about this on the 18th, John, but on behalf of the city of Garden Ridge and the city council, thank you for 20 years of hard work, devotion, and dedication. So thank you very much. And I'd like to have you at both those luncheons next week to talk more about that, okay? Love to have you there. Okay, thank you. That concludes item number 13. Item number 14, executive session. I'm going to read all of this. City Council will recess its open meeting and reconvene in executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.0711, 551.0712, consultation with attorney, and 551.072, deliberations about real property. Item number 14A1, to receive legal advice regarding a matter in which the duty of the attorney to the governmental body under the Texas disciplinary rules of professional conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with Chapter 551 of the Government Code, to include the following matters: to discuss dissolution of boards and commissions, impact on relevant ordinance provisions, and related matters. 14A2, to receive legal advice regarding proposed revisions to Ordinance Number 7 and any potential liability issues. Item number 14A3, to seek legal advice regarding the pending litigation, cause number C2022-0615 Bravo, Michael C. Dumgart II versus City Council of the City of Garden Ridge, Texas. With that, we will take a 10-minute break and reconvene in executive session in this room at 8:35. Thank you. There are no business items. Item number 15 to bring forward from executive session. So on to item number 16, Can I have a motion to adjourn?
John should make the motion.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. We have a motion to adjourn from our esteemed Council Place One. Do we have a second?
I second John's motion to adjourn.
We have a second to adjourn from our esteemed Council Member Place One. Any discussion? I'll call it to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned at 9:52.